Yes, please. Won't you come and put it down on me? I'm right here.
Hello guys, my name is Jasper. Today I'm going to talk something about health. A particular health project topic you probably could have ignored for the past few decades. Okay, it's coming right up. Now, before we start talking about this topic, I want to ask you some questions. Have you ever experienced any symptoms if you don't eat your food on time? Probably you are busy with something, you're having a meeting, you're working, and you have to delay your lunch, your breakfast, your dinner 1 hour, 2 hours. You're gonna feel panic, you're gonna feel headache, you're gonna lose your temper, your hands is gonna feel numb, and your heart is gonna beat very fast. If you have experienced once or twice these kind of symptoms, congratulations. That means your body is sending a very strong signal to you that you have to do something to change your diet. Otherwise, you're gonna develop type 2 diabetes, fatty fever, cardiovascular disease. If you're old people, about 60 years old or 70 years old, you probably could be developing some psychiatric symptoms that is called Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, because all these kind of symptoms or chronic diseases are highly related to the diet you're taking. Okay, that's something I'm gonna talk about and share to you how I have experienced and give you some advice about changing your diet and become healthier. So I want to illustrate some symptoms I have experienced. For the past 3 months, I have experienced very frequently hypoglycemia. This is because the high carbohydrate diet that I have been following for the past few decades, just like every one of you, like every Chinese, every people in America, in the world who are having this kind of diet, because our society tend to have a very strong obsession about the carbohydrates, sugar, ultra processed food, that is those biscuits, cookies you can find easily on the shelf of our supermarket. These are the food we have been taking continuously and also very frequently. You probably normally have 3 meals in a day, but that's actually not this real situation. You probably could have been having 5 or 6 meals a day because you're continuously eating snacks, which is high carbohydrates, and also those junk food. This is why I have developed these kind of hypoglycemia symptoms very frequently for the past 3 months. There was 2 times I went to play table tennis just 3 hours after lunch, nearly 3 hours. I developed very strong hypoglycemia. I could even barely stand up. My heart beats very fast, my headache, fatigue. I have to even lie down. There was even one time I have to ask my friend to literally put cube sugar in my mouth, and I have to chew it and drink water to help myself recover. You can't imagine how serious that kind of symptom is. I will never ever want to experience these kind of symptoms in my life anymore. So I realized that there must be something wrong with my digestive system, and there was a symptom called hypoglycemia. I know it's hypoglycemia because my body is very healthy actually, and I don't have any other chronic diseases. My BMI is very fine. I'm not a fat person. I'm not a lean person. So I couldn't understand why I developed these kind of symptoms, but I know it's hypoglycemia. So I tend to study a lot of materials online and watch a lot of videos on YouTube. I gradually discovered that this is I need to change my diet. But for the past 3 months, I don't know how to change my diet. I didn't even find a very appropriate diet for myself to keep a low carbohydrate. The only thing I was trying to adhere to is to have my dinner on time. I just told myself I have to have dinner on time. I set an alarm on my phone and my watch, and once the alarm rings, I have to have my lunch, dinner, and breakfast. So that is the only thing I have adhered to, but nothing changed. I was still having 200 grams of rice every meal. I was still having a lot of fruits, so it didn't give me any improvements about my health. The only thing changed is that I didn't go to play table tennis anymore. I started feeling better, but still, once it gets to the dinner time, lunchtime, I feel panic. Not even 10 minutes after the time, I have to eat right on time without even 10 minutes late. You can imagine what kind of a situation is that. It's highly unflexible. I have to always take my food with me. I have to eat on time. I cannot plan very well about my job, my work. I cannot, when I'm having a meeting, I have to always be concerned about when I'm gonna have time to eat. So this is the typical symptoms of a so-called, the consequence of so-called mechanism, chronically elevated hyperinsulinemia. That is because this this high carbohydrate diet that I've been following for the past few decades, that is causing chronically elevating the level of insulin in my body. So insulin is the only hormone in your body to reduce your glucose level, because glucose is a very harmful substance to your body. Apart from it gives you energy, all the other symptoms and the functions is very harmful to your body, to every single cell in your body. So your body has to get rid of the glucose as soon as possible once you have your food. So this is what insulin does. It reduces your glucose level and helps you store your energy as fat in your body, and also to prevent your body utilize those glucose and fat. That is what insulin does. And you have plenty amounts of other various kinds of hormones that elevate your blood glucose level. But because you have such a high level of insulin in your body, you have developed this chronically elevated insulinemia. All the other hormones cannot even take any effect because they are suppressed by this high level of insulin in your body, in your bloodstream. So this is exactly what I've been experiencing for the past few decades. So what happened? I know this is I need to change my diet. So it wasn't until 3 months later that I discovered a particular food to replace my rice and noodles intake. That is all kinds of beans. The chickpeas and also green beans, red beans, and soybeans, black soybeans, all kinds of beans. I made these beans to replace my diet, my main course. Every day I'm just eating that. You know what? It was magic. everything has changed. There was one Friday afternoon. I was there. It was after 5 p.m. I didn't feel any hungry. You know what? In the past, I have to eat every time on time, and every day on time after 5. I have to eat at 6:30 for my dinner every day. But that day, I didn't even feel any hunger after 5:30. And you know, I have a continuous glucose monitor device on my arm, and I can literally see the figures on real time about my glucose level. So when I look at that app, I realize that the glucose level is gradually risen up. It's gradually coming up after it reaches the bottom of 5.1, and it's started to go into 5.2, 5.3, and it stabilizes at the level of 5.4 for the past 2 hours. Even if I'm not eating anything, it was magic, because I've never seen such kind of situation before, and I know this is a very seminal signal, very phenomenal signal that is telling me my body has finally reached the balance between my insulin level and all the other hormone levels, like glucagon particularly. So my hormone glucagon has finally been able to elevate my glucose level, because I followed this low carb diet for just merely 5 weeks or 5 days. Okay, there's another one thing I have to tell you, is that I have been doing the squat exercise, 200 every day, every squat every day. So this is also very recommended exercise. You have to do your muscle building, because once you're building your muscle, you can literally see the glucose has been abstracted from your bloodstream, burned by your muscle once you're doing this workout. That's also gonna elevate your insulin sensitivity once you're doing such kind of workout to build your muscle. So both of these, eating beans and also doing workout build your muscle, has drastically reduced my insulin level and changed my chronically hyperinsulinemia. Since then, I will never feel hungry anymore. So this is magic. I could have never experienced this. I've never experienced this kind of situation before. So this is the reason why I'm telling you. Today I want to share my experience to you. If you have such kind of symptoms, hypoglycemia, and you don't know what happened, just change your diet, reduce your carbohydrates intake. Replace your refined carbohydrates like rice, noodles, and eat more beans. And also, actually, you have all the other kinds of ways to reduce your carbs. You don't have to follow a very extreme low carbohydrates intake. Just reduce a little bit to a certain level and get rid of those refined carbohydrates. You're gonna feel very fine. In fact, this is actually the mechanism of a so-called diet that has been highly recommended by many people on the internet, namely the ketogenic diet. To know what exactly is ketogenic diet, in fact, I have learned that typically to follow a ketogenic diet, that is a low carb, high fat, high protein diet. And some people are follow a very standard and typical ketogenic diet, that is to reduce the carbohydrates intakes to the extreme level and also a lot of fat. However, I have learned that if you just reduce your carbs, you don't have to particularly deliberately raise your fat intake. You are following a ketogenic diet, because if you reduce your carb intake, your body knows what to do to mobilize the vast amount of resource of fats stored in your body to change your energy source from burning glucose to burning fat. That is exactly what glucose ketogenic diet means. Ketogenic diet means you let your body learn how to burn fat, utilize the abundant resources of fat stored in your body to give you energy, so that you will not rely on burning glucose. Because burning fat is actually a much more efficient way as compared to burning glucose. Because imagine, look at those brown bears, the hiberlators, right? They tend to eat a lot of food before winter comes. They start to, their body generates and metabolize those food and stock a lot of fat in their body, so that they can get over the winter with the abundance of resources within their body. If you stock glucose, how much glucose you have to stock, right? Fat, because if you look at the chemical structure of a fat acid, it has a lot of carbons chained together, and the body knows how to chop 2 carbs of each part of it off those fatty acids to burn it. This is I'm talking about the biochemistry now, because I learned a little bit, and I learned a course. And okay, I'm not gonna go very deep into the biochemistry, but I just wanted to tell you that burning fat is much more efficient than burning glucose. And there has been a lot of studies about these, the links between the ketogenic diet and the health benefits about your when it comes to reducing the cardiovascular disease or psychiatric diseases like Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and all kinds of chronic cardiovascular diseases, high fatty liver, and also those high lipid diseases. These diseases can literally be reduced or prevented if you follow a low carb diet. So, in short, this video is something I want to share with you, and just my experience. So I highly recommend you guys, particularly if you have experienced such kind of hypoglycemia before, or if you have not even experienced any hypoglycemia so far, not yet as of now. It doesn't mean that you're not gonna experience any symptoms in the future if you still stick to this high carbohydrate intake about your diet. You have to change now to prevent such kind of symptoms in the future. If you want to get never develop a type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, chronically cardiovascular disease, I highly recommend you to reduce your glucose level intake, reduce your carbohydrates intake, and follow at least a macro definition about the ketogenic diet. Right? Just reduce your carbs. You're gonna feel many benefits about your health. Your mindset, your cognitive awareness is gonna develop. You're gonna be very much focused on your work that you're doing. You're gonna never feel hungry anymore. So that's all for today, my sharing. If you want to share something about your experience and also your suggestions about how to follow a healthy ketogenic diet and all kinds of topics about the health, you can just leave a comments down below, and we're gonna talk about it together. Okay, thank you guys. I'm signing off.